Welcome to Glacier National Park, the crown of the continent. I made it to Glacier National Park, and just looking at the scenery behind me, I am super excited to be here. So I'll be here 3 nights, about 4 days. The first night I'm staying at Fish Creek Campground, and then tomorrow we'll get up, we'll start driving, then going to the Sun Highway. I'm sure that's going to take all day. Second night we'll stay at the St. Mary's Campground, and then the third night we'll stay at the Mini Glaciers Campground. I'm excited to do some hiking, and that's what we'll be doing here in just a moment. We'll talk about that when I get there. I'm on my first major hike in Glacier National Park. It's the Howe Creek Trail. When I came into the park this morning, I stopped at the Apgar Visitor Center and picked up a Trails Illustrated map so that I could find some good hiking trails near the Fish Creek Campground. Now, I had planned to do the Howe Ridge Trail, which probably is going to be a little bit more scenic and you can see a lot more of the mountains. But there has been a major forest fire probably within the last 10 years in this area, and either the sign has fallen down or maybe they've closed that particular trail because of the forest fire. I'm not really entirely sure, so I just continued up the service road. Okay, so the lake straight in front is Upper Howe Lake, and you can't actually see it from this angle, but there's Lower Howe Lake beyond. Definitely got some beavers in the area. This is kind of anticlimactic. I'm at the intersection of the Howe Lake Trail and the Howe Ridge Trail. I know that I'm probably going to be regretting this later tonight and even tomorrow. It's 3.7 miles one way, so we're looking at about 7.4 miles round trip. I was feeling great at Howe Lake, so I was like, oh, I'll just go all the way to Howe Ridge Trail. So yeah, I got a little bit of hiking to get back to the van, and then we'll go to the campground. Okay, so I'm headed back to the van right now, and just wanted to show you this. These trails out here are pretty primitive. The Howe Lake Trail, and from the looks of it, the Howe Ridge Trail. This is especially true between the Howe Lakes and the Howe Ridge Trail on the Howe Lake Trail. A lot of Howes in that sentence. There's probably some more substantial trails or well-maintained trails in the park, but yeah, there's been a lot of bushwhacking and double checking to make sure that I'm on the trail. So there you go. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like there's a wolf pack somewhere off in the distance. All right, so this is a look of the Howe Lakes from the south end. The close one is Lower Howe Lake, and the one further away is the Upper Howe Lake. So there you go. About 2.5 more miles back to the van. We made it back to the van, and we're headed back towards the Fish Creek Campground on the North Fork Road. All right, so quick update. I went to the campground and got to my spot, and it's not flat at all. So there's this little village here with a shop, grocery store, and I'm gonna see if there's like some kind of boards or something I could put on my vehicle to see if I can level it out a little bit. Okay, so I'm back in the campground. Sorry about the noise. There's someone running a generator across the site. These Sites are really not that private. I'm literally right next to the road. I wasn't able to find anything to level out my vehicle there. So I do have a couple pieces of firewood that I shoved under the vehicle and kind of made it work, but it's still not level. I'm working on dinner now, so get back to that. Okay, I just finished up dinner and I wanted to give you a quick shot of the campsite that I'm at here at Fish Creek. I think for the most part it was successful on my first day here at Glacier National Park. Probably could have found maybe a little more scenic trail to hike. I think tomorrow, before I drive going to the Sun Highway, I will go back to that Apgar village and kind of walk around and explore it a little bit more. So there we go, day one in Glacier National Park. Good morning. It's day 2 in the park, and last night I went to this talk. They give talks every night at the amphitheater. This one was about forest fires, specifically forest fires in Glacier National Park over the last about 100 years. One thing that I did learn was I was saying Apgar incorrectly. I think it's the way the ranger was saying it was Apgar, so there you go on that. And then here in a little bit we'll get going on going to the Sun Highway. I stopped back in Apgar village before going to the Sun Highway. Glacier National Park has a few of these villages where they have general stores. You can rent boats and kayaks. They have restaurants, and they even have hotels at some of them. So a lot of amenities here. So Apgar village sits at pretty much the south end of Lake McDonald, and then you got some boats and some kayaks you can rent here. Here's another one of these little villages with a hotel, general store, things like that. This one also sits on Lake McDonald. It's more on the north end. This one actually has a boat tour of Lake McDonald. So they have these sweet little buses that run up and down going to the Sun Highway. So rather than driving, you could do that if you wanted to. And I'm sure they'd probably also give a little information while you're on the ride. So there it is. I'm still by Lake McDonald's Lodge. This is the Snyder Creek right where it enters into Lake McDonald. We're moving along on going to the Sun Highway. This is McDonald Falls. Now I made a bunch of little stops along the way. I'm not going to talk about everyone. Just know that all of these next clips are from going to the Sun Highway. So as you may know, it's summertime, and to make matters worse, it's a Saturday. So going to the Sun Highway is quite busy, and I was just up at the Logan Pass Visitor Center, and the parking lot was completely full, and there was people circling the parking lot. So I skipped the rest of going to the Sun Highway and came straight down to Sun Point to have lunch and to do a little hiking on the Siyeh Trail. Now, I'm probably saying that wrong, but I'm not going to do more than about an hour out, an hour back on the trail. And then once it's later on in the day, I'll try going back up to the Logan Pass Visitor Center, but there's no guarantee. And then I'll hit up a lot of the viewing spots on going to the Sun Highway that I missed earlier today. So there we go. Okay, we're starting the Siyeh Pass trail. Now I had to take the Pigeon Trail to get here from Sun Point. Now, Glacier National Park is what I think they call an international peace park. Glacier goes all the way up to the Canadian border, and then once you get there, it's the Waterton National Park in Canada. Some of the trails actually pass through both parks, such as the Continental Divide Trail. So that's why all the trails are. Okay, we're starting to make some progress on the Siyeh Pass trail. The taller mountain in front of us is Going to the Sun Mountain, and it's 9,642 feet or 2,939 meters. Okay, so I'm headed back, and I pulled out the Net Geo map just to look at the names of some of these mountains. This bigger mountain off to the right is Little Chief. It's just over 9,500 feet tall. And this one dead ahead, I believe, is a Dusty Star Mountain. I think it's something like that. So always fascinating to try to figure out which peaks they are based on the map. Okay, so I came back up to Logan Pass. I was very lucky. I got a parking spot just as I was passing. Someone was pulling out. I don't think I'm going to spend much time up here though. Okay, I hiked down the Highline Trail just a little bit. I'm still pretty tired from the Siyeh Trail earlier today. Directly ahead of me, there's some mountain goats. They're probably very hard to make out because they're pretty far away. Okay, so it started raining up at Logan Pass, so I just came all the way down here to Rising Sun. And I guess I should have mentioned, this is Lake St. Mary. I think this will be the last stop before heading to the campground. Although I'm thinking about coming back up here to do the 6 o'clock tour of the lake. Okay, I made it to St. Mary's campground. There's really no check-in process. You just go straight to the campsite. I'm sure that someone will eventually come around and check us in. If you haven't watched my last video about how the reservations work here at Yellowstone and Glacier, definitely check that out. I think the spots that they save for last minute reservations are always not the best ones, so there's that. You know, I was contemplating doing the boat tour on St. Mary's Lake, and I ended up buying a ticket. So here in a few minutes we're going to go back down to Rising Sun and do the boat tour. The exposed rock here, if I remember correctly, the guy said they estimated it to be 1.5 million years old. This is Goose Island. So we are at the Continental Divide, so on one side the water flows to the Pacific, and on the other side most of it flows to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, there is a mountain in this shot that it can either flow to the Pacific, the Gulf of Mexico, or the Hudson Bay in New York, depending on which side it is. Okay, I made it back to St. Mary's campground after doing the boat tour on St. Mary's Lake. It lasted about an hour, and I learned a lot in the process. Today's been jammed packed. It's already 7:30, and I haven't had dinner yet, so I got to get that going. It's a pretty remarkable day, though. So I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to break this up into a two-part video for Glacier National Park.